Time for parenting on Wake Up Nigeria, and today we are joined by Jayne A.
How did you add another A?
Are you not Jayne Ogoye? When did you become AA?
Who added the
I
extra
don't know.
A?
I don't know. She's a career mom of triplets with over 12 years of work experience. And she founded Fab Mom NG. Yes, the popular Fab Mom NG. There she is. And that was back in 2017. It's a foremost parenting platform for moms, parents, and stakeholders. And today, the focus is on instilling family values early.
Yep.
That's a big one.
It is.
But first, let me welcome you. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for having me. I know. Thank you.
Okay, so instilling family values. This is a challenge for many people.
It
You would
is.
think it's normal, like your children are observing and certain things are being noticed and they are taking some things from you. But how do you carry it out deliberately, especially instilling the right values?
I love the key word you added there, deliberately. So it just means you have to act what you say. And you know, with kids, most times they're not really listening to what we say. They're watching what you say, what you do and what you don't do. So it simply means you living out some of those values or virtues you want to instill in them. For instance, if one of your virtues or family values, you are big on honesty, it means that as much as possible, you must be honest in front of your kids. And this also includes phone conversations. Your child is listening to you making a phone call and you say, I'm already on third mainland, I'm coming. You're already on third mainland. Meanwhile, you're on your bed. And if it's an older child, the child will just turn and look at you. And if child is very assertive, means, but mommy, you're on your...
Yes, why are you saying like, yes.
You know, so those are ways with which some of the little mistakes we make as parents that our kids hold on to. So again, family values help shape what is important to you as a parent. And a lot of family values are passed down from generations. And not all values are right, actually, are good, you know. And most times these values are not questioned. But it's very important that as a human being, you have values that shape you, because if you don't have values, it means anything goes. And aside from that, values also help kids have a sense of clarity. It also helps with structure. It helps with their relationship with each other as siblings. It also helps with relationship between you, the parent, and the child. So it's always important that you have values. First, as a person, because if you don't have or you don't stand for anything, I mean, there's no way you can instill values in your children.
So for people who are wondering, values, could you give us some basic values that you need to instill
in your kids? Maybe honesty, hard work, compassion. What else? I mean, those are the top three that just readily, good manners. Those are the things that should guide us our everyday living. Compassion, your child should also see how that compassionate gestures in how you treat your servants, your domestic staff, your driver, how you talk to their nanny will go a long way, you know, in shaping how they also relate with that nanny. How you speak to the waiter at a restaurant, how you treat people. I used to know someone who, anytime he enters a taxi, as he's coming down, he's tipping the driver, a former colleague of mine, he's tipping the driver. And I was like, why do you do that? He said it just comes naturally. And some other time we're having a conversation and he said that thing has gotten him so much goodwill that there's nobody he can actually call that will not respond to whatever request. So imagine that kind of a person raising a child. There's no how that child won't be compassionate. You know? Naturally.
Because those things have actually been observed.
They have stopped,
Now, you know, there's this residue of childhood trauma.
Yes.
Which affects many parents.
Yeah.
And so you have this view of what you want to instill in your children. And you try as much as possible to imbibe some of them, but then that trauma is still reflecting in your life, in your behavior, such as how you project anger on your children, for example. For people in such situations, what would you advise?
I say you need to heal from those trauma. And it's not an overnight process because it didn't happen overnight.
True.
It will take a long time of healing and a lot of a deliberate effort to work on it, because if you don't heal from that trauma, you will pass it down to your child. And aside from that, we want to raise our children the way we wished our parents did raise us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, you know, sometimes we talk about how our parents raised us, oh, they were so harsh. But guess what? To an extent, we still need some of those old school parenting and mix it with a bit of, that's my style, though, and mix it with a bit of the new school, a bit of the soft parenting. But you can't take away the fact that a lot of those hard hand our parents gave us did shape us in some way. So if an adult, a parent, is still carrying over those trauma, get help, seek therapy.
But what's your thoughts on rewards?
Oh, rewards are,
because, you know,
but it's tricky.
It's tricky because, you know, when a child is portraying those values you've instilled over time, say, for example, you're potty training a child and the child starts responding positively, or you've taught a child not to lie, and then you decide that, okay, there's a reward. For every time you're honest, you will not get punished. Even knowing that some children will be honest with you, knowing that I'm going to get away with it. How do you manage that? Rewards and
rewards can be tricky, even for adults. I would say it doesn't really have to be material, because most times in my head, when I think reward, I'm thinking, okay, if you do this, I will take you to this eatery. If you do this, I would buy you something. It could be some other way, you know, maybe it could be an unconventional reward, like, okay, instead of you sleeping at 9,
I can let you sleep
I can sleep at 10 or 11. Or it could be, okay, your cartoon time is just 2 hours. Okay, you can do that. So it doesn't really have to be tangible per se. Or
it has to be something the child will appreciate. And
exactly.
Exactly.
The same thing with punishments.
Because, you know, this honesty one that I mentioned, there's actually something I saw recently about when a child doesn't lie about something, you give the child the benefits of forgiveness. And so to me, it makes the child feel like, okay, I can do it. If I'm honest to my parents, I'll get away with it. So it's good you've said, know how to maintain.
Yes, you have to balance it.
Create that balance.
Yeah.
Indeed, thank you so much for your time, Jayne. It's always interesting having a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. And of course, at this point, after all that talk about instilling values, let's see what is being installed.